this will be another excuse. It won't be the only reason why the economy collapses, but it'll be the main reason. And it's the thing that makes the most sense. When they come out with this virus, so far, anything I've heard about, it's not being treated correctly. So that's the theme. When it's not being quarantined right, it's going to hold people up even longer. They're going to be locked down longer, because at first they lure you in with 2 weeks, and then we got more cases, and then they get more people to agree to sign away their soul and say those words that everybody is starting to receive this virus, even though they're being quarantined. It keeps spreading. When you have paper money and you exchange it back and forth, it's just another way of saying the transfer of money is giving people this virus, this coronavirus. Or it might even be another virus. They might name another virus, but again, I still think there's going to be a virus that is referring to your ear and your inability to hear. If there's something on money, if you can catch something by touching money, well, then everybody would start to catch it. When they start doing studies and saying that this money is the cause of this virus, the coronavirus, it'll put fear in people's hearts, of course, because it's going to be worldwide known that it's the money itself touching it. So if you believe that, then I mean, either way, it doesn't matter if you believe it or not. It'll happen, and then you'll just have to deal with it. It's also another way of receiving the mark of the beast and fulfilling Bible prophecy, causing all, great and small, rich and poor, free and bond. He causes all of them to receive the mark. And it's somebody that has the power over the treasures. And, you know, it's somebody who has, like, whoever printed the money and like their artwork is on the front and back of the dollar bills, the U.S. currency. Whoever that person is in the world, they are the ones that have the power over that money. Obviously, because it's their artwork that they chose to put on their paper. So that person is going to be able to lure as many people in his direction as possible. Like Hollywood, for instance. Everybody in Hollywood knows who this person is. We just have to guess. But it's hard to believe that it would actually be somebody hopping up on YouTube making himself known without saying it, but obviously saying it, but without saying it. It would have to be somebody that probably came up with the idea to fold money and to show, like, these bombings that happen in the United States, America. Does anybody know of a person that claims to be that person that came up with that idea first? Because I know somebody named Jonathan Kleck on YouTube, and he claims that he was the one that figured out, well, somebody told his brother, either way, it's in the family, and then he started to study it, and he came up with more bombings and future bombings too. Don't forget future bombings coming up. So these bombings haven't happened yet, but that person, right, has this ability to, you know, get people to to fall into a trap, because he's promising a group of people everything in the world, like the Garden of Eden, because whoever this person is that has this power over treasures, he's gonna be pretty persuasive in his speech, for sure. I don't even think he needs a script to read things, but he's a pretty good reader anyway. He listens to he has a good earpiece. Why you always wear those hats, Johnny, huh? You don't want us to see your earpiece in your ear? So, I've shown you that you can listen to an earpiece and regurgitate your words forever. You can do it for 33 minutes in a row. You can do it for an hour and 6 minutes. It doesn't matter. You can keep doing it. And, I'll tell you what, these events that happen that dominates the world news, Kleck always has something really important to say about those situations that happen immediately as they happen. Like Kobe Bryant falling from an airplane, falling from the helicopter. Coronavirus, immediately told you everything and anything that there is that you need to know about every single possible thing in the world. He knows. How does he have that information? How did he know how to fold that money and come up with those bombs if he wasn't the one orchestrating those bombs and creating that money with his artwork that he brags about, just like Obama's portrait, his boy? Circumstantial evidence. Circumstantial. I use my memory. I use the ability to, read between the lines. Everything is, when you start getting way too many coincidences, you just gotta, you can do what you want with it. I know what I do with it. I patiently wait, because I know that the idea of these 33rd degree Masons is to get you to know exactly what it is that they're doing, what they're up to. Get you to predict beforehand, before they do it, so you lose credibility, so people can stop listening to you. And then when you finally do get it right, those people, they quit, they gave up, they stopped listening because they were impatient. They couldn't see, you couldn't see it clearly enough when I was showing it to you. And then afterwards, you see it like that, like you get the green light. When it really sunk in as to there was another level of what Kleck showed me that he had the ability to be involved with. And when Kobe Bryant fell, man, that was it right there. Then it started to make more sense, because here's a person that obviously is known by Hollywood. Hollywood knows, the ones that do listen, who he is. There's people that know that Kleck has that responsibility of that money. That's why they're receiving that mark. It's a clever ass way to get people in Hollywood to stand in shame. So maybe I give Kleck too much credit. Maybe that's what it is. But it's my story, though. I push record and I talk to my journal. Dear journal, here's what I think today. Who would have thought that you would take your journal and put it and just speak it to the world? I mean, you can't even make that stuff up. You damn sure don't plan on that happening ever. That I can tell you is absolutely true. Whoever thinks about speaking their mind on a platform that can get you severely gang stalked and harassed. I wasn't planning on it. It's what I went through. It's what I seen. It's what I still see. I see the effects of it. I see how Satan's little helpers, they, whether it's actual gang stalk corporation or not, it's still their spirit is a gang stalking spirit. Because you either are stalking, or you're the one being stalked. It really is one or the other in this world. So the stalking, that's what's going to stop. The stalking. Because the ones that were the predators, well, they're the ones that are being hunted now. Hunted for dinner. And it's true. They are. The tables have almost already turned to the 3. Well, it went from 180. It has to turn to halfway, and then it gets turned all the way around. Like 360. Because you got to experience both sides at least once in order to appreciate the 360 degrees of life that you go in circles. Like your thoughts in your head, where they constantly spin around and just flow through. I usually hop on the wave. Sometimes I'll hop on the wavelength of a harder thought pattern, or maybe I don't really feel like thinking this way, but I need to think it through anyway. It can be uncomfortable, but you need to think these things through. Because I try to think of all angles, how this thing's going to work. I mean, who knows? Only God knows the day and the hour. We can know that there's something fishy going on. I've been impatient. I've made some predictions a little bit too early, but that's fine. At least you heard about it. I mean, don't try to hold it against me when exactly what I said is going to happen happens. It just didn't happen on that specific day. That's all. Because that's just it proves that only God knows the day or the hour. But I have a feeling at that time, there's going to be no reason for me to be up on YouTube anymore. I have to say my job is finished on that end. So they prolong everything, but they get you to believe it's happening now. And yeah, I'm guilty of being caught in that snare. I got stuck in that trap. They set a spider web for me, and I stepped into it. But they can never keep me in that web, though. That's the difference. I've never been the actual bait for that spider to actually eat. I always climbed out. And then I start forming my own, and I'm not even a damn spider, but I can make a web. And I can catch a bunch of liars. I can catch those damn liars, man. And they start lying to me. That's the problem. I get lied to. Remember that guy, David? That big old Goliath that sabotaged my work? I know, right? No, not this story again, right? I know you just said that out loud. But, he was a bully. And he was poking holes in my pipe because I didn't want to do his job for him. I didn't want to give him a list of everything we needed every single time that we did an upgrade, because that's his job. He didn't like that after the first apartment. yeah, it was like 150 to 200 apartments we redid over a year and a half. He gave me trouble the entire time. He was poking holes in my pipes. He was getting his maintenance men to do it, and I knew it. I knew he was doing it. And all of my people that worked for me, that I was paying out of my pocket because my boss wasn't paying me on time, and I had to pay them out of my pocket to keep them working for me because I appreciated their work. I even had Karen quit her job to come live up there in an apartment with Norman, and they both worked for me. She was the cleaner, Norman was the foreman Norman. But he drank himself into getting fired because he couldn't stop drinking and smelling like alcohol the next day. And then after that time, I mean, a year and some change, they had to move out. But I held a strong responsibility because I had about 7, 8 people, 10 people at a time working for me, and I was paying them. And then not to mention the subcontractors, and they weren't getting paid for my boss either, even though we were making a killing. But I was always broke because I always had to pay people out of my pocket to keep them working. As I was being sabotaged, as I was trying to tell people, just relax, be patient. I'm going to prove that this guy is doing what he's doing. But after a year and a half, I had to call it quits, and I handed the vice president 9 pages. Steve, you have my pages. My emails are hacked into, I can't get to it ever again, but I remember that I wrote the first page was my opening statement. The next 7 were nothing but facts and ordering habits, time frames, everything, every possible detail. And then the 9th page was my closing argument after everything that was said. So I proved that this person was irresponsible, lazy, and a liar. So when I handed that information to the vice president of the company, Home Properties, it's a big corporation. They remodel a lot of apartments. And I worked for, they know me for a long time, and that was their company that bought over that guy's property. So he was there on the land the entire time before me, and I was coming in there on his land, just like YouTube, telling him how to do his job, and he wasn't trying to hear it. So he tried to sabotage me, just like YouTube, how people come against me, and poking holes in my pipes, trying to get me to fail, trying to get me to get the people to not move in on time. And normally I wouldn't have to work the weekends, but because he was sabotaging my work, when the people were getting ready to move in, the pipes and stuff, he would poke a hole in it and it would cause damage to the floor downstairs, and then I would have to fix their leak, and I get the plumber there and to fix the drywall and paint it and move in with the house that he sabotaged the day before. This was a common theme. I knew it was that. I knew it was him. I knew it was him. Just like I know who Kleck is. So I'm telling you, just be patient. It'll happen. In the meantime, I did all my homework, and once I handed those 9 pages to the vice president, I stepped off and said, you can call me when he's no longer here, because I'm not doing work for this company anymore. And it was about 3, 4, maybe 6 months tops that I got the phone call that he got fired, and I didn't feel bad at all. And then I got the guy, the really good maintenance manager, I got him to get that position because I recommended him to take Dave's spot when he does get fired, and he lived 5 minutes from that job in Westchester, Pennsylvania. And he really appreciated it too. So I went and seen him. I seen the maintenance guys, and I told them before that if anything, their boss is going to get fired, not me. I stepped off. I fulfilled that prophecy with those guys as my witnesses. I should go up there and talk to them and see if they want to go on a camera and explain that situation, just how he was, as a therapy kind of show, because they witnessed the fact that I told them what would happen beforehand, and it did. And then when I went to see them, they were so damn happy to see me. They were literally saying that it's like heaven. Their job is like heaven. And I shook Rollo's hand, the one that poked the holes in place. He was a little flunky. Yeah, I forgave him for it. But that had to come to an end, but I had to stop. I had to get cut off at first and step off. And then afterwards, it's like they received that spirit of living in heaven working there, because that guy got fired and a better man came in. The other maintenance manager, he was so damn cool, but he was stern, but he knew it, he had his way how to talk to people. He really did. Like, he would tell you to go F yourself so kindly. It was hilarious how he would do it. So I appreciated that with those guys, and I hooked them up at the end. They got to live in that land with a better, because let's face it, you're at your job 8-10 hours a day. I took out the bully. I took out Goliath, and I put in a David type of spirit. And from that point on, I seen him that one day. I did work that one day, and I stepped off. I got fulfillment out of that. So I'm gonna get it again on YouTube. But of course, I have to step off first. It has to look like nothing's happening, and then, bam! Here comes that second 9/11 in Philadelphia, that bombing at 17th and JFK, then the William Penn building, then the Met building. It's 3 in a row. It's nonstop. All those things would come to pass afterwards. And you know what? I asked for it, didn't I? I asked for it. It's going to be real. Those buildings are really going to be, they're really going to collapse. I mean, it's really going to get blown up, just like Jonathan Kleck said it would. That's why I'm tying him into everything, because he's showing me who he is. You can't see it? That's fine. It truly is fine if you can't see it, because it's even better. I know the feeling. I've already experienced this thing. I mean, it's my life. I'm telling the truth. People that, you guys, the ones that surveil, you truly know what the truth is. But that situation literally happened in my life because the guy was lying and he didn't want to do his job. So here we go again on YouTube. And then here we go again with the car dealer. The guy lied. I mean, you can't just let people get away with lying. You can't. So I'll tell you how it goes, but I'm not giving details now. It's just, guys, just let it happen. Just let it happen. I just need to have a conversation about information. It's February 20th, 2020. This is who he's playing. Right here. These words that are coming out of his mouth.
A picture of the Vatican, divining serpent. Divining serpent means basically the serpent that makes the future happen according to its own will. So, if we go to, let's go to, let me just shut a couple windows. I got some super cool stuff to show you guys right now.
He needs to shut a couple windows.
Make sure you stay for the rest of this video. You're not going to want to miss it. Okay, so I'm going to go to my Welcome to the World of Good and Evil, and then I'll do the U.S. currency folder. There we go. Where the Lord let me break down all the U.S. currency back in 2003. I was showing people stuff that on the U.S. currency, they had absolutely no clue whatsoever what was going on. So here is the...
Is that or is that not true? It's true, right? He's the one that started this U.S. currency folding up the money. He's the one that has the power over this money. At least his system does. So with him being grounded into Hollywood as well as people on YouTube, it's a perfect fit for him.
Twin Towers. I have taken the Twin Tower and clearly identified on the U.S. currency the explosions and the exact locations, even on the money itself.
which means he also has to orchestrate. With him being involved and in charge of this artwork, he also has to orchestrate the actual bombs themselves.
So there's a Twin Tower on the $20 bill. There's the Twin Towers.
There's the William Penn
kind
building.
of scroll down to get you guys to
7-story building.
Okay, there you go. There's the federal building bombing in Oklahoma City. There's a federal building blown up. That's on the old 20. They took it out of circulation. These bills are hard to find, but here's a picture of the front of the bill. There's the back of the bill. This bill right here turns into the federal building bombing blowing up. It is identical. There's 3 layers of ink. I isolated those 3 layers of ink. There they are. There's the building blowing up right there. That is the federal building bombing. Same number of long rectangular windows. Then when you turn the bill over, this image right here shows the building blown in half, and I lined the building up right here. There's part of the building. Here's the other part. You can see the floors sticking out here and here, just like there, and there. There's the side of the building, floor, 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 floor. Other side of the building, floor sticking out, explosion. So this has been clearly identified. I did this back in 2002. Even the rounded edges of the building match.
See, he said rectangular windows, which are the same. Even the rounded edge of the building, which is 17th and JFK, it's rounded edges, has those rectangled windows. You can turn it sideways.
Identically to the side of the building right here.
Exactly.
So that was federal building bombing in Oklahoma City. Here are the Twin Towers matched up and laid right on top. So I took the U.S. currency, put it right on top. When you take any one of these currency notes and you have folded it in the shape of a pentagram, that's when it reveals the image. Because this is the serpent's kingdom, this upside down star that represents his kingdom. A star, which is an angel that's been turned upside down. So when you draw around the perimeter of this bill and you connect the vertices, you get this, and that is the sigil of Baphomet. Let me just do a quick Google image. Star of Satan.
He loves saying that about himself.
Star of Satan, there you go.
Because Hollywood
right
believes
there,
that he is.
U.S. currency, sigil of Baphomet. There's a goat right in the middle. I'll pop it right into there. Bam, there it is. See, so in order to see what their divine, this is making the future happen according to your will. So in this system, the serpent, the divining serpent, is printing the bombings on all the U.S. currency. Now watch. So even...
Remember, he's telling you he's the divining serpent, telling you that he's printing all this stuff on the back of dollar bills. He's telling you this.
Bombings that are coming. By the way, there's the Pentagon right here on the back
Future
of the Twin
bombings
Tower
that are
bill.
coming?
There's the bombings that are coming. By the way, they're this is making the future happen according to your will. So in this system, the serpent, the divining serpent, is printing the bombings on all the U.S. currency. Now watch. So even bombings that are coming, by the way, there's the Pentagon right here on the back of...
See, the ones that are coming, 17th and JFK is on the back of a $50 bill. Just go ahead and fold it up.